Hello, everyone. Hi. Hello. How are you? Hi, everyone. Um, thanks for this session. Thanks for your attendance. We're going to continue with a very interesting topic because we are going to discuss about different. It's a very ample topic because we discuss about the use of some tables, the databases, and so on. So I invite you to check it out. More information also in the wiki page. But I well, I think that you might need to interact a little more with databases. So we are going to start today with that lesson. Well, the first thing that you have to know is how you can use Process Maker for certain purposes. I'm going to explain now in the admin menu, okay, what is a PM table. What is a PM table? Well, a PM table is just a table which is going to be included in our database of our server. Okay, so you can see here in this list in the admin menu, I click on settings and then I click on PM tables. PM tables in general, they represent tables from the database. Why do we use this? Well, it's hard to have an external database and make the connection and everything and create the tables you require if you go, for instance, if you do it far away, if you excuse me, in another database. So Process Maker allows you to create the tables of your database inside Process Maker, inside the server. And that's a wonderful idea for people who want to avoid the management of external databases. In fact, that's why we created these PM tables. It enables you to have a different approach to Process Maker database management. Well, when clicking in this menu, I can create a database by clicking here. Okay? Well, now I want you to check something here because you're going to see a very common, not common, but the word is something. It's a little bit different to find it. Okay, it's okay. I'm going to start creating the structure of my database. You're going to have here the table name, as you can see here, and finally a description. And in this part, I'm going to include the columns of the PM table. So I'm trying to create the structure in which I'm going to use the PM table. So let's begin with that. I'm going to click here and use it as, okay, it's budget, no, excuse me, the table is going to be city, and I'm going to include this description. This table is for a list of cities. Then I'm going to add fields, and it's going to be city ID, city ID, integer, and you have 11. Then you have city name, here I'm going to include the varchar, and it's 30. Finally, it's going to be country. Okay. Okay. Here in country, I'm going to include the country ID, and finally I'm going to enter here country name, country ID, and then I'm going to include here a voucher. Okay, it's a voucher, then you go 30, and so on. So what does it mean this? That my table is going to consist of a city ID, city name, and country ID. Okay, so it's a way that I'm going to model the construction of my PM tables. I'm going to create this. Okay, and now I'm going to create the other table. And my other table is going to be country. By now you are going to think what I'm doing, why he's doing this kind of list. This is going to be field name, is going to be for country ID. Then the integer, and here is going to be the date. Then we are going to include this country name, and then here is going to be the varchar 30. Okay, so now we have both of them. We can check also the structure. You click in edit, and you're going to find here the structure of each one of the tables. Let me remind you something. The type that I'm using is the type that you can use when you're constructing a table for the SQL database. In your DBMS, the database management system software, you can manage all your tables inside the DBMS and create them. But it's easier to do it in this way. You're going to create your PM table by using all the resources that you can find in Process Maker. So in fact, this is going to be easier. It's going to be better for you in the sense that it's going to reduce the time that you can work. So by now I have created both structures, country ID and city ID. Both tables have their respective structures. Now I need to include the data in both of them. And for that I'm going to return to the list of tables and include all these data of cities and countries. I'm going to move now to PM tables here and click on country, and in country you're going to find something. I want to remind you this. The country ID is the same thing that I have added here. Okay, so there is no restriction, and you are going to understand why I'm doing this, that it has the same field ID in both of the tables. But now we just create our tables. I'm going to include the data right now, this, and it's going to be 1. For instance, is going to be United States. Canada, United Kingdom, France, Spain, and finally Germany. Okay, so I have my country ID and my country name. So I have all the data inside my table. So you can find that. I'm going to click here and add the data. But by now, I need now that you can make me see some information that you require. I'm going to click on country name here. I want to see the data. Okay, I'm going to add here the city name, and it's going to be the first one, Washington, D.C. And I'm going to write country ID 1 because of the country ID that I have in this table. So in this table, I include this one. Then I'm going to include Boston. And finally, New York. We include the next cities. 2 from Canada is going to be Montreal, then Ottawa. Excuse me, I'm going to change this part. Is 2 because the country ID of Canada is 2. Then I'm going to include from the United Kingdom 2 cities. It's going to be London, the first one. Manchester. I add a new row and it's going to be the next one for France. For France, I'm going to include Paris, Nice, and Toulouse. Spain. Spain, I'm going to include Madrid, Barcelona. And finally, the last one is Germany. So I'm going to include 2 cities for Germany. And it's going to be München, okay, and Köln. Finally, Berlin. Well, I should write this with umlauten, but doesn't matter. Well, so I have 15 cities. What is special about this? Well, all this information that you have here, you can export it as a CSV file. You can, well, you can import a CSV file to populate the table, but you can also export it as a CSV file. So I'm going to click, for instance, on separation by commas and export it. Or I can, for instance, I'm going to erase 2 cities of Germany. I'm going to delete them and re-enter both cities by using the importation of the same file. I can go to my desktop, then I can go to documents, downloads, excuse me, and search for the file of today. And then the comma. Then I'm going to upload. Okay, and once you upload, you are going to find that these cities have returned. So we use this idea of we use both operations, importing and exporting, to enter all the information that we require. It can be the city, it can be the country, and so on. So I'm going to use both of them. Well, now apart from that, you can also export the entire structure, the entire table by clicking here, okay? But also importing the same table. So we are going to find all this information in the university course. So we are going to find all of this. Now I want to add another type of table, because the difference of the tables that we use in Process Maker is that a PM table is a table that you create, you enter data. That's what I did. I enter some information and some data. But in the case of in the case of a report table, I'm going to create this report table, and then I need to make some configurations to gather data and put it into a table. So I'm going to include this new table and report table. Then include this. Okay, I need to capture information from a report table. So I can select the process. For instance, the invoice, a process. Then set a new table called invoice report, and it says this is an invoice report. Finally, I can make it global or grid, but global is fine. Then you can create a DB connection database, and in this case the database that I'm going to use is the workflow. Finally, because I enter information about the process that I want to use, I can select from the process certain fields of a Dynaform to capture all the information of that process. By doing that, I can click on create, and if you click here invoice and click on data, you're going to find all this information here. Okay, so we use this type of PM tables and report tables because if we go to our database here, and please pay attention for that because you are going to see a lot of that. If I am going to move to my DBMS, you are going to see right now that in this case, in this database in workflow, you're going to find, for instance, this. You're going to find that your tables that you have created are going to be shown here. For instance, we created city, and you're going to find here the table city with all this information. So it's the interaction that I have with my DBMS, the PHP MyAdmin, and the rest of the database. Now, we want to reconfirm the connection that I have between my server and the database. Something that you can do is to go here, designer, and if I need that in my process, I need an external connection of database, I'm going to click here on the connector, click on here, and finally, excuse me, this is another. You have to click here, okay? You click on database connection, and then you click on create. Okay, but you're going to see this type of form. What you have to do is that you have to write information in each field, and it must be correct. Well, since my database is this one, my engine is going to be MySQL. If you want to find another database, you might, for instance, you use Postgres or you use Oracle, you have to make some installations different from what is set here. You know that in Apache we at least we use well, at least the one it comes with a set of all of these, no, the Apache server, this database, and so on. So you're going to see that also the installation of Process Maker can be done via using WOM. But in that case, I'm going to use my engine. The only one that I have is the MySQL. Okay, then you are going to select the encoding, and well, do not change, it's the same encoding. Finally, I'm going to write the server. I'm going to add directly the I prefer to add directly the dominion, this one. Then the database that I need to include is workflow. Finally, the username is going to be admin. Let me check the correct name of the database. Is double F workflow. To enter to this database, the credentials that you have, and we have given you the credentials, are these: root, and here is process maker. The credentials are for the DBMS. Okay. Finally, I click on test connection. Okay, it's telling me that something doesn't go well. Let me use this directly there. I'm going to test the connection. Okay, maybe it's this one. Just a moment. Okay. Okay, I understand why. I need to do it inside my server. I'm going to move here. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to show you this connection. Just a moment. I'm going to solve one issue here. Okay. Well, I'm going to make some. But I'm going to insist once more with the connection. I'm going to move that. Okay. Uh, I'm going to enter here. I'm doing it directly on my server. Okay. I'm going to enter here. Then, okay, something happened that was not correct here. Okay, I'm going to move back, and I just need to add this one, my server. Then there's the connection. Okay, the workflow database doesn't exist, it tells me. So I need to find which one is the database that I need to open. And I can use this one, I can use this one, or I can use this one, double F. So I can click on here, and there's the connection again. And once I use this database and the domain is process maker, I can save the connection, and it means that this process is going to have a connection to work with. So I don't have to worry with the connection. But by default, I'm going to have that connection. So it's not necessary to make many. By default, you're going to have the connection with your DBMS and your database. What we need to now explore is that we can create another Dynaform. And well, from that I'm going to use this. I'm going to export, okay, and the operation that I'm going to do is I'm going to import the file that I exported and modify it. It's just cloning one Dynaform. So I'm going to click here, one Dynaform, click here, import it, okay, and here we click it. Then I'm going to click here and say approval, okay. Then I'm going to include here the drop down and select well, I'm going to create a I'm going to select here drop down the approval, and here is approved, okay. Well, what I did is just to create, based on a previous Dynaform, I created another Dynaform. I just modified a little bit. It is just that. And maybe you can make here, you can make the display mode to be on view mode, okay. That's because the previous Dynaform is going to contain information and we don't want it to be modified, so we can click on view but not to be modified with that, so it's going to be impossible to edit, okay. So we can do that type of display mode. I'm going to close it and do that. Okay, so this is the Dynaform. Well, I'm just explaining that they are just Dynaforms. We are going to make that modification, and that's enough. Well, but I mean, it's like, okay, something is missing here. So I'm going to click here because I have seen that both drop downs do not work. They are empty at all. And well, the point is that I remember that here there is a section called SQL, and I can write an SQL. And because it's connected to my database, this one, I can write select country ID, country name from country ID, country name from PMT country. By doing that, we can save it, and by query, I'm going to populate my drop down. So you can click here and you're going to find now the drop down. I'm going to make the same for this one. I'm going to say select city ID, city name from PMT city. Then save it, and there you have all the cities. Where, okay, well, I'm not going to go fast. You know that there is a link between a country and a city. Okay, a set of cities belongs to a category. Okay, of a country. So it's going to be they're going to belong to a type of category. So in this case, the category is going to be the country. I'm going to include that by clicking here, clicking on where, country, ID is going to be equal to what? Origin country, this one. Okay, let's click on there. Origin country. I'm going to save it. I'm going to, okay, and now you're going to see this concatenation. Because I made this operation is called dependent fields. From the query that I had and it populated my drop-down with the cities, I had to do some type of restriction or filtering in order to classify the cities by category. The category is defined by country. That is represented with the where country underscore ID equal at origin country. I'm saying that the ID, country ID of that table, okay, is going to be included, is going to be equal to the country ID that you have here, the origin country. I save it, then I go to the preview, and if I select, for instance, France, I'm going to have these cities. If I select to Germany, I'm going to have these cities. So I'm creating a dependent field by using that type of architecture. If you want to find it, a way in which I can design all my work in that way. So, so this is the part of dependent fields, connections, PM tables, and so on. So I have discussed a lot about that. Do you have any question? Well, when you have a connection by default, as here, this type of connection, remember that this query is just for the dinosaur, okay? That's something that you have to remember. When I have a connection here, okay, the types of connections that I'm including in my process, they are going to be shown as here. In this case, I have two types of connections, PM database, then process maker 3306 MySQL workflow is another database, okay? So I can select one of them, okay? So just like that, and when you do that database connection, you just have to do it once, and it's for the process. By default, the PM database is for the entire server. So you don't have to re-enter the credentials and test your connection. Okay, so is the question clear? Did I answer your question? Is everything clear right now? No questions about all. You have to do the connection for each process. If you want to connect to another database, you have to do it for each process. Okay? One thing more. Apart from that, you have to do it once, and it's for the entire process. Except the first connection that you have seen, that one is for everything, not just for the process, but for the entire uh, collection of alternatives that you can find. Okay, well, time to work. Okay, I'm going to make you work this part in the architect. Please, if you're doing all the laboratories, okay, try to follow by sequence because it is the construction of a process. So try to do by sequence everything. Well, in this part, the database connections, try to do the laboratories and the quiz. Both things you have to do. Is that correct? Is everything fine? Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we're going to have 15 minutes for this. 15 minutes for this work. 15 minutes. Is that okay? You have to do I need you just to do this lab. Data reporting tools. Okay? Just this lab. 15 minutes. Okay? Okay, see ya. Just the lab. Data. No, excuse me. It's not data reporting tools. It's this one. PM tables and Dynaforms. This is the lab. PM tables and Dynaforms. You have to do this laboratory and start with it and start working with that one. Okay? Just this lab. No quizzes at all. Just the lab. 15 minutes. Bye. Hello everyone. Are you ready? Hello. Are you ready? Okay. Every one of you. Okay, I'm going to continue. Um well, now it's time to check something that you're going to be interested. You know that we talk about designing, then we run a case, and well, there is something that we are missing from the ring of all the management in BPM, and this chapter is dedicated to the part of um, the analysis of data, the analysis of information. So in that sense, we are going to dedicate our time to explore one of the most interesting features. This feature is called we are going to see something called dashboards, okay? And apart from discussing about dashboards, I'm going to explain about other topics. And well, with that, I think that we are going to then we close the session. Okay, but now we are going to explain about. Well, I'm going to explain about dashboards. You're going to see what are used for. Well, one thing that you have to understand is that when I am doing here in a process, when I'm doing all of this, you're going to have the PM table. So you're going to have all of these, the PM table, and well, by doing the PM underscore table, you are going to find that it's okay. It's a way that we can use all of this. Well, let's see. We are going to close this. Okay. Well, I'm going to move to admin and click on dashboards. I'm going to erase all of these dashboards, okay? I'm going to delete all of them. Okay. Um, well, so you have all of this is I'm going to click on new, okay? And there you have. You're going to have a dashlet instance configuration. So what is a dashboard? Dashboard is something that is going to reveal you the current state of something. It means the current state of the cases of how many tasks do you have pending, of how many pending tasks you have, and so on. So you are going to see an important amount of data and an important amount of information where you can study this dashboard instance configuration. Okay, so we just we talked about it. Okay, so you have here the title. Okay, so I can click here the dashlets, then click on the instance configuration, and you're going to have all of this: the title, the dashlets, the assigned to, the name, the chart type, the label for axis X, label for axis Y, and so on. So there are many types of axis. So let's see. Okay, I'm going to introduce something very important. Okay, so we are going to see many different types of reports, and one of them is going to be the dashboards. So I'm going to explain now that the dashboard is something that shows you the current state of things, operations, cases, and so on. So you are going to see here one of the dashlets. Dashlet is a format to present everything, and it's going to be this one, the cases drill down. Then I'm going to assign to all. It means that I'm using this title, the cases drill down. That's the name that I'm going to use to identify my dashboard. Then you have the dashlet and its cases drill down, and the assigned to is going to be O. Then the chart bar is going to be bar, and then I want to have here the processes, and in the label Y is going to be cases. Then you have the inbox here. Okay, now I want to explain why I decided to introduce all of this information. Well, here is known. This is the title of the dashboard. The dashlet, the format is going to be cases drill down, and I'm going to assign to all. The chart type is going to be the bar. Then the label for axis X is going to be processes. Then the label for axis Y is going to be cases. Then you are going to see cases status group by is going to be inbox, draft, participated, and assigned and post. Okay, and then you are going to find the sequence process, task, user, status. Here you find cases status group by. Okay, I'm going to group all my cases by the folders that I have here. These are the folders. In home, you're going to find these folders: draft, participated, and so on. By doing that, you're going to find all of these: inbox, draft, participated, and assigned and post. Then you are going to see now the sequence, and the sequence is going to be process, task, user, and status. What does it mean this? That first the cases are going to be shown by process, then by task, then by user status, then by by user, and then by status. I'm going to use the sequence process, task, user, status. The type is going to be user. Okay. Then the cases of the current user, and the date is all. I'm going to save this, click on here, and now it's activated. I'm going to move to dashboards, and you're going to see now all this information revealed. The cases are going to be distributed by processes, then by tasks, by the folder of processes, then by a process. It's create and populate a process spreadsheet. Okay, and the task is this one. The only task that has these cases are these. Okay, so let me remember. First, you see everything for the processes. Okay, cases distributed by process. Then I can click this one, for instance, and you're going to see that now the cases, since I selected the process, you're going to see the distribution by the tasks in the process. And finally, if I click here, you're going to find it by user. And finally, by clicking here, you're going to find by the status. Isn't that the thing that you have seen here? That you see first by process, then by task, then by user, and finally the status. So it is not coincidence that here I'm using it by status. It is this one, no? The draft and participated. Okay, so just I'm using that. It's a way that I can use. Okay, so we just use all this information in that way. Okay, I'm going to move to processes again, and there you have. I'm going to save it. Well, so just like that. Do you have any question about this? That's the way it works. Now I'm going to show you another thing that you would like to see. It's something very uncommon in the sense it's very uncommon. So I'm going to explain you now about how to use all these processes, all these things that we have here, all these tools, and I'm going to use another dashboard. So I'm going to click on here and start entering the data for another dashlet. So I'm going to click here, cases drill down by category, but in this case it's going to be by groups. I'm going to use another dashlet. It's going to be this one, and I'm going to select cases drill down by category. I'm going to assign all, so it means that all the people are going to see this dashboard. Then I'm going to select the pie. Finally, the label is going to be cases by current state, and it's going to be inbox, drafts, and everything. I'm going to distribute them by folder. Then you have users, then users, and save it. Then we click on here, and just like that, we move here on the dashboards, and there you have the unassigned and the distributed, and there, depending on the configuration that I have given, everything is done here. I'm going to click here, and now it's going to be custom drill down, and here again custom drill down, and finally this is pie. I'm going to enter the categories, and now I want to show you that you can use a query in this case to include all this information, and the label is going to be this one, categories. Okay, you can include the query, and we save the information, and let's see the magic behind. I'm going to click on dashboards, and again this is another way to obtain that information. So it is basically that you can start using all this information in Process Maker. So you have one of the first tools where you can measure, you can monitor what is happening with the tasks. Okay, so this is one of the things that you can check, and then you can start doing your own analysis. Is everything clear? Is there any question? Okay, that's fine. Okay, now I'm going to move to the next session. Is going to be SLAs. I'm going to move to the part of SLAs. Well, I'm going to enter all of these, the SLAs here. Well, I'm going to move to the part of plugins. Okay. And well, you have all of these. Then, okay, let's move now to SLAs. Well, the part of plugins, it's we can talk about the plugins as a way to include all this information. Okay. Um, okay, the part of reports it uses some plugins, and when we use these plugins, you're going to find a ways in which we can measure and monitor all your current case or all your current situation in your server in Process Maker. One thing that we have checked is dashboards. Now I'm going to make you see the part of SLAs. Now, what is the difference with an SLA? SLA is a type of report that makes you see how much time or how many resources are spent when you are running a case. So we are going to use the SLA. The acronym means Service Level Agreement. So we are going to define in the configuration a fair service level of agreement. I'm going to include a new here, and then I'm going to include on a process. This process is going to be this one. I'm going to include, for instance, this one, the vendor registration process. Then I'm going to include one of the names, just the same name, vendor registration process. I'm using this to configure the report that I'm going to use for SLAs, Service Level Agreement. The description is going to be the same. Vendor registration. Oh, excuse me. Vendor registration process report. We make it active, and then the entire process. Then the duration is going to be 3 hours. We want that the running of the entire process, this one, should be in 3 hours. We can add some conditions, okay? And if it is more than 3 hours, we are going to make some penalizes that says I want this to be penalized $5 per each hour. Okay, so what it means that if the process spends more than 3 hours in being processed, this is going to cost me $5 more because I require more resources, more information. So we are going to measure the efficiency of this process. I'm going to click on save here. And now in the, well, this is very interesting because you are going to find it a lot in the, just a moment. Okay. 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 Well, here I'm going to run the cron. Then the workflow, then the engine, then the bin. Okay. Well, what I am trying to do is that the report that I have created, the SLA, uses the a script, and this script, well, a script for all the people who do not know, is a file. It's a file in Process Maker with some code, and this code is going to be executed. I am entering this directory, this one, OPT Process Maker Workflow, to find that script. If I'm going to click LL, obviously this directory is the directory in which I installed Process Maker. And here you are going to find now that I need to execute this file, cron php. By doing that, you are going to click here, click on php, then f, then cron.php, and enter. And you are going to see the execution of this cron. By doing that, you move it here. Excuse me. You are going to move this one. And let's see now the reports. But these reports are going, okay, these reports are going to be found here in this part called reports. Then here in SLA, you are going to click on the report that you require. In this case, we created this one, vendor registration process. We click on it, then we say all the dates, all the sessions, all the status. We generate the report, and you can see now that the cron has been executed at this hour. Okay. Well, if I click on this on the report and then click it for invoice approval and generate the report, it's going to announce me the date of the last execution. Okay, so if I'm going to click here, okay, I'm going to write PHP, then I'm going to say here this is going to be cron PHP, and I'm going to execute the cron. Just a moment, I'm going to enter all this information. Okay, well, it's still running the Chrome, but my idea of showing you this is that I'm going to click on here, and there you're going to see the status of all of this. Okay, now it's all is executed, and then you are going to see some important features about these reports called SLAs. I remind you, for people who do not have maybe plugins, or maybe I'm going to search for you that in the server that you are here, admin, and then guess one, you need to go to enable this plugin because the SLA reports is a plugin. You need to go to the admin, then to plugins, and here you need to enable this plugin. Okay, so it's just a way to mention that that's the way that you can work. Okay, you have one lab more. It is this one. This lab is going to be the PM tables. I need you to do this lab. Report SLAs. We are going to have 10 minutes for this. Reports SLAs. This one. Okay, so reports SLAs, you're going to use this report. Okay, see you. Bye. For everyone, okay, for everyone, you don't have the SLA in the plugins list. I mean, you have to go here. Just follow me. Enterprise Manager. Is that right for you? Yeah. Now you're going to find all of these, all these plugins. Okay? Do you have this plugin in Enterprise Manager? Do you have it? Okay, now you click here and then you activate it, you enable it, and then you can proceed with the lab. Is that right, Fra? Okay, yeah, just do it that, and then you can start with the lab. The lab is SLAs. I have shown you is this one, report SLAs. We are talking about 10 minutes. 10 minutes for this lab, okay? 10 minutes and that's all. Hi, did you finish the lab? Okay, well, okay, nice. Uh, Tomorrow we are going to see about KPIs and then data reporting tools. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on KPIs because it's very easy. Something that you're not going to spend a lot of time. Let me remind you that tomorrow we are going to have a 3 hour session. Tomorrow we start with 3 hours of sessions. Well, just this is a comment. Just that it's 3 hour sessions. We basically do that. I'm going to use just that information. Well, just that information. Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you thanks for today's session. It has been a very nice way to see you. Um, well, thanks for all. Thanks for this session and your attendance. I'm going to see you tomorrow. Okay? Tomorrow we are going to start with KPIs, data reporting tools. I'm going to finish with some details about the data reporting tools. And finally, we close everything with the lab. And well, see you tomorrow. Bye.